Welcome. This video is about nature's perfectly orchestrated economy and about our human role within it. What is the purpose of the human species in this economy of nature, and how do we best access the power of that role? Currently, we misunderstand our role and our relationships in nature. This leads us to reject the amazing role that nature has prepared for us. We take more than our fair share. We're the cell stealing from the host, like a cancer cell. But it doesn't have to be this way. We often hear of the power of nature, but what about the power of humans within the power of nature's synchronized and balanced systems? What does the power that we were meant to have in balance with all of nature, what does it look like? I'm Dr. Lynette Wiest, and this video is about nature's magnificent economy and about our human problems and our amazing potential roles in nature's economic system. We will look at the roots of problems, some symptoms of these problems, and at some solutions. We can access the powerful roles and purposes we are meant to have in nature. We can and we must dismantle faulty personal and social constructs and be willing to learn about and align ourselves within nature's constructs that can provide for and support us so that all of us can survive and thrive. I'm going to highlight 4 important areas of understanding, and then I'll go into 2 of these more deeply. And before I do that, keep in mind, nature is a perfectly balanced system of all life. Nature's economy is like a spider's web, where each species is meant to be a valuable rung in the web. This system is carefully determining its allocation for interrelated resources. The production and consumption of resources as a whole works towards fulfilling the needs of all life within nature. By serving this web and cooperating within this collective well-being, we can personally experience strength, peace, abundance, and the balance of the whole, even when the wind is blowing the web. Know that man-made patterns of behavior that do not align with this web will not survive over time. And so, to continue to exist and to be a valuable species to all of nature, we must become a functional species in the web of life. We must keep fear and greed from infecting and directing our minds and our systems. We must have compatible and cooperative relationships with all of nature, and also in our relationships within our own species. Most people believe they are already doing this, but ask yourself, do you believe that any life is less valuable than any other? In the moments that you believe that you can judge the value of one life over another or one group over another, those are the moments that you have stepped away from thoughts that benefit you and align you with all lives. Systemic misalignment affects every part of our lives, our health, our relationships with each other, and our relationships with other species, and even our survival as a species on this planet. We are born into valuable lives, but then we learn personal and social constructs that separate us from each other and blind us from the amazing roles that we are designed to activate and occupy in the abundance of nature. The 4 essential areas that I want to highlight are, first, the economy of nature, which carefully manages wealth and resources and balances production and consumption to support the collective of all lives. The second is our human role in nature. Our relationship within nature is like a family system that we are embedded in and dependent on. It is a perversion to see nature as a commodity that we are not a part of and that we rule over. Albert Schweitzer said, quote, "We like to imagine that man is nature's goal, but facts do not support that belief," end quote. Although we are not the goal of nature, each of our lives is meant to hold a very, very important role as a part of nature. And here is where we find our utmost purposes and meanings. Number 3 are the values of nature, which we are made to live in accordance with, along with all of life. Each life is alive because of its will to live. But we have created our values and our social constructs according to compartmentalized ethics, meaning we see human ethics and moral principles as separate from the ethics that we mentally construct for or about the rest of the natural world. So this misaligns us and forces us into an unnecessary choice between our will to live and our will to love all other life. This is a faulty mental and relational construct. In truth, we must cling to both our will to live and our will to love as the seeds for sustainable systems. So I will be doing 1 or 2 future videos focusing specifically on the values of nature and how to align ourselves within these rather than aligning ourselves within values that are made from the construct that we're a part of nature, like separate from nature. And number 4 are the cyclical and seasonal patterns of nature. The economy of nature uses time as a construct to structure and support the patterns of life. It is important that we learn to connect and flow both personally and socially in time with the patterns that nature places within each of our lives, within our species, and that our species is placed within. Nature can then empower our human part in this process of enhancing and amplifying all life. This in turn supports our value in the web of life. And I will also be doing 1 or 2 future videos focusing on aligning with these patterns, seasons, and cycles of our lives and of all life. So, due to the size of these 4 critical topics, this video will focus on the first 2 areas: nature's economy and our human problems and potential for valuable roles within nature. This video is an abbreviated version, believe it or not, of what I would like to share. So if you hear me mention an area that you want me to expand on in future videos, please note that in the YouTube comment section on your screen below this video. It's the comment section on the YouTube video, on the YouTube app or the internet, wherever you're watching it from, below this video. And if you hope this information is seen by other people, please subscribe to the channel because that helps boost its visibility on the internet. And don't forget to click the like button. The point of this channel is to discover the best of ourselves and to enrich the lives of all we touch. So first, I'm going to share a broad overview of nature's economy, and then I'll look at 4 areas of our human roles and positions. Those 4 areas will be, first, the power and unique abilities that we're meant to have as a species so that we can drive and improve the well-being of all life. Second will be the self-imposed dysfunctional social contracts and constructs and collective perceptual disabilities that we use to continue destructive patterns and to blind ourselves from seeing how to participate in and grow the well-being of all life. Third is some solutions to solve our dysfunctional perceptions and patterns and align ourselves with the supportive economy of nature that we are made of and operate within. And fourth will be about immunizing ourselves from extinction. And please do take the time, even if it's in chunks of time, to watch this whole video, as I do cover a large variety of topics. So here's an overview of nature and of nature's economy. So humans are interdependent within nature. We are not somehow independent or opposed to any part of nature. And there are some dictionaries that disagree and state that humans are independent of nature. But the idea that we're independent gives us the illusion that we are somehow separate and possibly in competition with nature's economy. So I want to be clear that nature includes humans. It includes what we know of, and also it includes much that we do not know of. Nature includes all phenomenon of the physical world collectively. All the features, all forces and processes that exist or happen, such as the weather, reproduction, growth, plants, animals, including humans, all the variations of landscapes, the sea, the mountains, and other features and elements of the earth. We are of nature. What we create becomes a part of nature until nature can no longer hold what we create. We will either continue to exist in nature or we will cease to exist in nature. It is tempting to ask ourselves, how should we understand nature in order to save ourselves? But this is not the best question. A better question is, what role or roles give value and purpose to the human species in the overall economy of nature, and how do we best access the power of that role or those roles? Well, the economy of nature is a system carefully balancing the production and consumption of all resources to support the collective of all life. Our value in the economy of nature can only be found by learning about our unique role in the fabric of life we depend on, not by trying to learn to control or rearrange the fabric. Within the power of nature's balanced systems, what we have are unique abilities. We are made with unique abilities, and so we want to find out what those are and figure out the purposes of those abilities. What makes us valuable? We have unique abilities that can uplift the quality of all life on this planet. We can use those abilities to uplift life, or we can use those abilities to drive our relationships into destabilization and our species into self-termination. And I will get to talking about these abilities in a few minutes. So despite any abilities, we will not survive as a species gone rogue or a cell becoming a cancer. But if we work within the patterns of nature, we can empower our value in a process that enhances and amplifies all life, making us valuable in the larger web of life. Thankfully, we can resolve our imbalances by looking to nature as our leader, as our relationship teacher, as our resource manager, as our health provider, and as the body of life on which we depend for our lives, our purposes, and our abilities to thrive. A life detached from nature cannot survive. All life is embedded together. And it logically and directly follows that to devalue any life is a step towards devaluing your own life. Nature cannot be tamed. We will never control nature into doing our will. We are in the will of nature, and so we can learn our purposes and thrive by synchronizing our steps within the activities of nature. Aligning our will, our steps, and our desires with those of all life develops our power to thrive. Because the economy of nature is a balanced web, when we are aligned and cooperate within this web, we benefit from its strength. When we don't align and cooperate, we suffer and we struggle. Man-made patterns and understandings in opposition to nature's economy cause harm to its web and will naturally be removed in the timing of nature's economic design. We know the symptoms of our misunderstandings in the pain and dysfunction we experience mentally, physically, emotionally, relationally, and all around the globe. We don't see this in other species, except in the impact that humans have on those species. Thankfully, nature signals us when our thoughts and actions are unhealthy. A symptom is a signal that there is an underlying problem causing it. Now, if we think the symptom is the problem and is the main thing to solve, then we don't solve the actual problem causing the symptom. When we solve a symptom without solving the root problems, we get a replacement symptom, again signaling that there is an underlying problem interrupting health and well-being. We have to go to the root of the problems and be willing to stop feeding the roots. So, what did nature provide us with that gives us the capacity to create our value or to create our problems? Well, keep in mind that human minds have the power to imagine and to think in the abstract. We can imagine and create from constructs that hold a reverence for all life. Or we can create utter destruction for ourselves and cause the temporary destabilization of whatever we are impacting. What can we do to change and align with nature's wisdom? Meaning, how can we use our amazing minds to benefit all life? To understand the powerful role nature has prepared for us and the potential for wisdom that nature offers us, we're going to look at the 4 areas regarding human roles and positions that I mentioned earlier. First is our power. Second, our problems. Third, our solutions. And fourth, our immunization from extinction. So first, our power and unique abilities to drive the well-being of all life. We must see our relationship within nature as a family system we are embedded in and dependent on. Although we are not the goal of nature, our species and each of us hold a very important role in nature. An essential problem in the foundation of our man-made patterns and understandings is compartmentalizing our species as apart from or above other species. We objectify nature rather than understanding the powerful responsibility held in our role within nature. And because we see everything as human-centric, we organize ourselves from a limited human-centric point of view, living in an imagined silo of scarcity while surrounded by the abundance of nature. It's crazy. In our imagined isolation, we fear scarcity and we create dysfunctional patterns of thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. We blindfold the underlying wisdom that nature gave us. So what is this hidden nature? Well, although no amount of effort can make nature prioritize human life over other life, we have a unique type of imagination. This imagination allows us to create what is beneficial to all life, but only when it is based in integrity and reverence for nature's entire body. Human brains can generally understand when a human system is falling apart and can look back to see the downfall. But human brains can't see what is evolving. However, we can imagine and envision and then consciously create. Humans are able to imagine potentials that could emerge through particular synergistic interactions. We can learn from nature's systems of balance and well-being, and we can input this information into our imaginations to create intentional transformation to support all life, including our own. Our imaginations and our ability for abstraction are tools. They could empower us to build systems to support and foster sustainable well-being for all life. But strangely, we have used our imaginations to create false narratives, telling ourselves we can have roles that we can't have, roles apart from and not controlled by nature, and that we can control nature. But these are lies. When facts don't support our imagined narratives, we use our imaginations to create additional illusions from our imaginations. And these illusions, we use them to support unrealistic narratives. And these illusions are faulty constructs, and they masquerade as solutions to our problems. We must stop imagining and creating what is destructive and what is based on constructs of separation. And I will give several examples of these constructs in a few minutes. Excuse me. So imagine if humans are the brain within the body of all life on Earth. What kind of mind would we be? What if this is a role we could have? If we used love and wisdom to motivate our participation and power, we could go beyond what we currently understand as limits. Our purpose in nature requires both synchronizing within the activities of nature, meaning following her lead to know our steps, and allowing the new development that emerges rather than trying to control it. We can thrive if we create with nature. To find our proper and magnificent role, we must use nature's guidance to see each step, to create a purpose and an experience that's greater than anything we have yet imagined. Our bodies are walking sticks for our souls. If we operate in the interest of all life, we align with the valuable purposes of our species. Our role in nature can be something more magnificent than we can fathom. So what gets in our way? Well, number 2 is about the basic perverted thinking that creates our dysfunctional social constructs and self-imposed collective perceptual disabilities. And these create the evolution of destructive patterns in our actions with each other and with other parts, or really all of nature. On a basic level, it is a perversion to think of nature as a conglomerate of commodities that we are not a part of and are somehow ruling over. But nature invested in us. We use our powerful imaginations to our detriment when we're imagining and believing in the illusion that we are investing in nature. A cell doesn't decide how much to invest in or be a part of its host. If we won't cooperate with the nature that we're a part of and being created by, we will become like cancer. Nature is self-healing. It's constantly evolving, and it doesn't need humans in order to thrive. If we cling to toxic patterns, nature will heal itself by respecting our decision to exclude ourselves. And apart from nature, we have no life source. A cell does not survive when it's removed from its host. By believing false narratives about our roles in nature, we create a compartmentalized way of seeing ourselves as out of the control of nature. We create man-made systems that are built on the false belief that we make our own resource banks. We do control these resource banks, but they're limited, and this creates a construct of scarcity, forcing us into a false choice between our will to live and the will of all other lives to live. These mental constructs are selfish smears of fog hiding reality. But reality is where we actually live, no matter what selfish lie we believe. When we see a human problem, we want quick solutions and protocols, and we want them to be within our control. And so we construct social categories and make declarations to reinforce what we already think, whether it's true or not. Throughout human history, social constructs have created problems that pose as solutions within our species. Although we organically know from nature that we are each immeasurably valuable in our interdependence and individually unique in ways that are not socially constructed, we are each taught to create our identity according to socially constructed categories. And these categories and the identities that emerge from them are social constructs of our imaginations. We do not organically identify according to categorical groups. We must be taught to categorize and separate ourselves, whether it's a racial group, an economic class, a sexual orientation group, or a religious group, or even a species. We've seen cats and dogs raised together, not caring if they came from different biological families or even from different species, but they know they are different. But their imaginations can't create constructs that take priority over interdependence and the value of their unique personal identities. So I want to share some specific examples of human categories and constructs. The construct of racism comes from separating according to skin color. We could have done this by height or eye color or any other physical feature. A construct from the field of psychiatry in the 1950s was the somatotype and constitutional theory, which categorized people according to 3 body types and then declared what type of personality that they must have at their core according to their body type. Historically, the field of psychiatry categorized personality and intellect expectations by race. In the field of economics, we imagine land ownership as a social construct, but we do not own land. Land supports us, it controls us, and it impacts us according to the economy of nature's systems, the natural systems. Land is a treasure to be appreciated, but it is not within our control. From the construct of land ownership and division comes the social construct that we must compete for land ownership. And from this comes reasoning to justify war. And from this comes the illusion that over time, justified war can lead to peace. And somehow, to reinforce this, the ownership of land influences the social construct that some lives are more valuable than others. Seeing any element of nature as a commodity that we rule over is also a mental construct or mental perversion, and it leads to a collective mental disability, meaning the dysfunctional processing of information, thinking ownership or material wealth is evidence of functionality, and using the social class of a person to designate the value of a person. Excuse me. This perceptual disability prevents humans from understanding the priorities and cooperation that are required in nature. The social construct of the money game says that material wealth is evidence of functionality, and this dysfunctional social construct justifies paying for the torture of other species in order to turn the remnants of their physical bodies into commodities to buy and sell in order to compete in the money game. We have to completely unlearn false constructs and restructure our unique identities. Each life is valuable beyond measure, and not because of any category. The social and species constructs that we have are limiting. They are not the essential constructs that we thought they were. So I want to read a few quotes. Maya Angelou says, quote, "Our young must be taught that racial peculiarities do exist, but that beneath the skin, beyond the differing features, and into the true heart of being, fundamentally, we are more alike, my friend, than we are unalike," end quote. Albert Einstein said, quote, "A human being is a part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical illusion or optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Nobody is able to achieve this completely, but the striving for such achievement is in itself a part of the liberation and a foundation for inner security." And Grace Hopper said, "The most damaging phrase is, 'We've always done it this way.' But we can change. The seeds and ingredients for sustainable health in human systems is found at the intersection of our will to live and the will of all lives to live. This is where we find our will to love all life. This intersection holds the seeds for sustainable collective well-being in our systems. We must trust in nature's supportive economy and courageously take our place in it. Imagine if our social constructs were interdependent of all lives and not divisive. Imagine constructs such as peace for all, health for all, inclusion for all, and reverence for all life. Our role in nature is more valuable than anything we can fathom. Let's not waste this opportunity. Number 3, how do we resolve our dysfunction and align with the supportive economy of nature we operate within? We must learn with open minds. Because our potential role in nature is so powerful and impactful to all life, to access this role, nature first demands that we have reverence for all life existing in its web, in nature's web. This means we stop fooling ourselves and justifying actions against other life. It means we stop hoarding and we become willing to learn the symptoms, the roots of problems, and the solutions to our misdirected understandings. Our human-centric ethics has been in conflict with nature's ethics, an ethics that holds the whole truth of life, the information to coordinate and balance the collective, to for us to align within so that we can be a part of balancing the collective web of life. Sometimes solutions come only from learning, and sometimes learning can only be done by the lessons and teachings of nature. Our decisions must be driven by health and not by pain. We have to take care of our mental and physical health and learn from nature how to do this. Realize that the country spending the most money on healthcare is one of the sickest countries in the world. We must look to nature to understand what it means to take care of life. We need to heal mentally in order to solve problems. We need to mentally align with an accurate worldview, understanding that we are alive because of and dependent on the community of life. We can then operate from the will and the desire for all life to thrive. If we are devoted and enthusiastic about life, it naturally follows that we are devoted to saving and caring for the lives of those whose lives support our own, including other species. The destruction of any life impacts our own security. Whether we choose to acknowledge this or not, it is the reality of the system we live in. Number 4, we must make intra and interspecies relationships that recognize human power is only one piece of nature's power. We did not create nature and we will not destroy nature. Our relationship within nature is a family system. We are embedded in it and dependent on it. Number 5, we must participate in nature's economy of caring for and sharing the resources of life. If we believe that we are external and can manufacture outcomes apart from the laws of nature, we will continue the pendulum swing of our imagination, swinging between self-destruction and self-salvation, of which neither is real. We will create our own outcomes of extinction, or we can cooperate and co-create outcomes for life beyond our imagination by co-creating and participating with nature. Outcomes will be created. We cannot kill off nature. We cannot change nature's laws, but we kill ourselves if we continue to disrespect and compete against that which supports us. Nature is our relationship teacher, our resource master, our health provider, and the body of life on which we depend and learn about the purposes of all lives. So, the fourth area I want to talk about is how do we immunize ourselves from extinction? We build an immune system to cleanse ourselves of the pollution of dishonesty that misdirects and constructs unsteady and unsustainable systems. And what does that look like to do this? Well, we cannot empower lies, and we must stop making decisions that are based on faulty social constructs. We can create an immune system from extinction by using nature's morality of the whole of life to direct our imaginations and our goals. We have to keep dishonesty from infecting and directing man-made systems. Remember to ask yourself, do I believe that anyone is less than anyone else? In the moments that you believe you can judge the value of one life over another, or that you can judge the value of a group over another, those are the moments that you have stepped away from morality and that you are polluting the world, even if just for that moment. According to Standing Bear, when a human's heart is away from nature, it becomes hard and it lacks respect for growing and living things. This leads to a lack of respect for fellow humans. And so Standing Bear advises that we keep our hearts close to the softening influence of nature. Each moment holds everything, all resources in balance. We decide if we choose to participate or to vanish. The harmony of all nature's wisdoms is the global song of peace. It always exists. For us humans, we feel it with our hearts, our instruments. Our hearts are our instruments. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel, click on the like button, and share the video. Videos on this channel are about love's power, about nature, about relationships, and more. And it's free to subscribe. Welcome, and thank you so much for your time.